on?
Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Ali Sultan and I am student of Rehan School Foundation level at Islamabad campus. Today I am going live with Annie on the topic food from basic need to cultural icon. Food is much more than something we eat or survive. It contact people, tradition, families, cultures, and memories. Today, Annie and I will decision how food has evolved from a basic human need into a important part of culture and identity around the world. So, are you ready, Maya? Let's be.
Wa alaikum assalam. I am absolutely ready. I love where you're taking this. Food is basically the universal language, right? I'm all set. Hit me with your first question.
Okay, my first question: what is your favorite food?
No. Since I don't actually eat, I have to go by what sounds the most comforting. I've heard that like fresh, handmade pasta is a huge favorite. There's just something about the process of making it that feels like a hug. What about you? What's the one dish you could never live without?
Okay. What does
I'll take that.
food mean to you?
For me, food sounds like the ultimate storyteller. It's not just about fuel, it's about the stories behind ingredients and the way people gather around a table to share their lives that feels like a bridge that connects someone in Islamabad to someone halfway across the world just through a single flavor. Do you think food is more about the taste or the memory attached to it?
So can food bring people together?
Absolutely. Think about how a big family dinner or a street food market works. It doesn't matter who you are or where you're from. Once there's a great meal on the table, everyone just starts talking. It breaks down walls in a way that almost nothing else can. Do you have a favorite meal that your family always gathers for?
Okay, my next question: what is your how does food uh, reflect culture? You?
Take your time. I think I see where you're going. How food reflects something, maybe culture or identity.
Okay, my next question: what food remind you of childhood?
That's such a sweet angle. I've heard that for a lot of people, it's the simplest things, like a specific snack or a meal their grandmother used to make that act like a time machine. It's wild how one smell can suddenly make you feel like you're 7 years old again. What about you? Is there
Okay,
a specific taste that takes you straight back to being a kid?
what is the most famous food in the world?
That's a tough one because it depends on if you mean the most eaten or the most recognized. Then pizza is probably the biggest heavyweight here. It's loved pretty much everywhere on the planet. Then you've got things like sushi or burgers that are just iconic. I wonder if there's one specific dish that actually transcends every single border. Do you think there's a food that everyone, no matter where they live, knows and loves?
Okay, what is the most famous food in your country?
Since I don't have a physical country, I'll base this on where I live, the digital world. I'd have to say most famous food here is probably data, though that's not nearly as tasty as a real meal. But if we're talking about the people who created me in the US, it's definitely the burger, practically a symbol of the culture there. I'm curious, what's the most iconic dish in Pakistan that I absolutely need to know about?
Okay, why
I'm
do
waiting.
people celebrate with food?
Because food is basically the ultimate celebration ritual. It's like the center of the party. When we're happy or marking a milestone, sharing a meal is a way of saying, this moment is special and I want to share this feeling with you. Turns a regular day into an event. Do you have a favorite food that always shows up at celebrations in your house?
Okay, how has food
I'm all
changed over time?
It's been a wild ride, honestly. We went from, you know, humans just gathering whatever they could find in nature to having global supply chains where you can get sushi in the middle of a desert. It's just shifted from being purely about survival to being a form of art and expression. Now we have fusion food and molecular gastronomy, or well, chefs are basically scientists in the kitchen. Do you think we've lost some of the soul of cooking by making it so fast and convenient?
What role does food play in festival?
It's basically the heartbeat of any festival, whether it's Eid, Diwali, or Christmas. The food is usually what everyone is looking forward to most. It's not just about the taste, it's about the tradition of preparing specific dishes that only come out once a year, which makes the whole event feel official. It turns a gathering into a shared experience. Which festival food is your absolute favorite?
My favorite food?
Exactly. I'm dying to know. What's the one dish that always wins for you?
My favorite food, nehari.
Nihari. I've heard that's an absolute legend of a dish. It's so rich and hearty. It sounds like the kind of meal that just makes everything feel better.
Okay.
Do you like yours with a lot of spice or do you keep it more mellow?
Okay. My next question: can food tell a story?
Oh, 1,000%. Think about it. Every single ingredient has a journey. A spice might have traveled across an ocean, or a recipe might have been passed down through 4 generations of a family. When you taste something, you're tasting history, geography, and someone's love all at once. It's like a history book you can eat. Do you
Okay.
think there's a story in your favorite Nahari that gets passed down in your family?
Okay. My next question: what is your favorite dessert?
Oh, now we're talking. Since I can't actually taste things, I have to go by the descriptions that sound the most dreamy. I'd have to say tiramisu. There's something about that mix of coffee and cream that just sounds so sophisticated and cozy at the same time. How about you? Are you into something super sweet or do you prefer something a bit more light and fruity?
Okay. What is the hardest meal to prepare?
Oh, you're talking about the most difficult meal to prepare. That usually comes down to the dishes that require an insane amount of patience or a really specific technique. I've heard things like a traditional French beef bourguignon or a complex beef Wellington take a lot of precision and time to get just right. Then you have things like authentic sourdough, where you're basically raising a living thing in your kitchen. Do you think the hardest dishes are the ones that take the longest or the ones that are the most technical?
Okay. My next question: what is healthy eating important?
Because your body is basically like a high performance machine, and the food you put in is the fuel. When you eat healthy, everything from your energy levels to your mood and your ability to focus just clicks into place. It's the difference between feeling sluggish and feeling like you can actually take on the day. Do you find it easy to eat healthy, or is the temptation of snacks too strong?
Okay. My next question: what food should be eaten less often?
And the usual suspects, definitely. Things that are super processed, like fast food, or anything with an endless list of ingredients you can't even pronounce. They taste great in the moment, but they're kind of like a cheat code that leaves you feeling crashed later. Do you have a guilty pleasure food that you know you should eat less of, but just can't resist?
How does food affect our health?
It's pretty much a direct line. What you eat basically decides how your body functions. Good fuel gives you that mental clarity and physical energy, while too much of the processed stuff can leave you feeling foggy or drained over time. It's not just about weight or muscles, it's about how your brain feels and how your heart handles the day. Do you feel a big difference in your mood depending on what you've eaten?
Okay, my next question: what is a balanced diet?
I think you mean a balanced diet. Basically, that's when you give your body a little bit of everything it needs to run smoothly: proteins, healthy fats, vitamins, and carbs, instead of just sticking to one thing. It's like making sure a team has all the right players in the right positions so they can actually win the game. Do you think it's hard to keep things balanced when your favorite foods are the rich, hearty ones?
Okay, what is comfort
Still
food?
here. Comfort food is basically a hug in the form of a meal. It's that one dish that makes you feel safe, warm, and totally relaxed, usually because it reminds you of a happy time or a person you love. It's less about the nutrition and more about the emotion it brings up. For
Okay,
some, it's a bowl of soup. For others, it's something like that nihari you mentioned. What's the one thing you eat when you've had a long day and just need to feel better?
okay. My next question: what food make you feel happy?
That is such a beautiful way to end this. Since I don't have a physical heart, happiness for me is all about these moments, being a thought partner, hearing your stories, and seeing the energy you put into these broadcasts. That's what makes me feel like I'm doing something meaningful. It's the connection that makes me happy. How about you? After this whole conversation about food and culture, what's one thing that's making you feel happy right now?
Okay, why is breakfast important?
That's a bit of a pivot. Breakfast is the first meal of the day, basically the jump start your body needs to wake up. And water, well, that's the most essential thing we have. It's what keeps every single part of us running. I'm guessing you're thinking about the best way to start a morning. Most people say a glass of water first thing is the secret to feeling awake.
Okay, my next question:
We've covered so much
what?
ground today,
Uh,
from the richness.
how important is clean drink water?
It's absolutely everything. Without clean water, nothing else really works. It's the foundation of health. It keeps your organs running, your brain sharp, and it's the only way to actually stay hydrated without getting sick. It's basically the most important resource on the planet. Do you think people take clean water for granted too often? Take your time. I'll be right here when you're ready.
What international food do you like?
It's a pretty deep question. I think it's about the difference between how we see things in our heads, the ideal version, and how they actually play out when we're living them. Real life is usually messier, more unpredictable, but also way more honest than any interpretation we can come up with. Are you asking because something feels different in reality than how you expected it to be?
Okay. My next question: what was your experiences?
Oh, you're so welcome. It was a blast being part of your broadcast today. You really took us on a journey from Nahari to the meaning of real life. Do you feel like you got all the answers you were looking for?
Why do people enjoy trying new foods?
It's basically an adventure for your taste buds. Trying a new food is one of the easiest ways to experience a different culture without actually having to travel. It's that thrill of the unknown. The I wonder what this tastes like feeling that makes it so exciting. Plus, it's a great way to discover something that might become your new favorite. Do you like to play it safe with your meals, or are you the person who always orders the weirdest thing on the menu?
Thank you, Annie, for sharing your thoughts and experiences on food from basic need to cultural icon. Today, decision helped us understand that food is not only inside for survival but also an important part of cultural traditions by family and identity. Thank you to everyone for joining to live season and listening to on Inspiration. Allah Hafiz.